Welcome to my studio. Today I am going to repair some cushions that have damaged welting that has come apart and the fabric has just totally disintegrated in some areas, and this is the problem, and this is going to be the solution, the finished product. What I have to do is remove this piping and apply this brush fringe. What's needed is something called fabric tack. It is the most amazing fabric adhesive that I have ever found, and I've already finished one of these and it worked beautifully. Whatever method works best, just to get this fabric, this piping and this fabric off as much as possible. This is all going to be covered because this trim has this wonderful flat flange on the bottom, and all the glue is going to be, applied there, and then voila, just like that. So the corners are a little tricky because there's always extra fabric here, and you want to be very careful not to cut this fabric. We're going to give new life to these cushions by replacing this ripped piping. And I have a feeling that many sofas have suffered ripped piping. Oops. There really is no easy way to get this off. You just have to go slow and be careful that you don't rip the fabric. It's cushion surgery. I find if you take the stitch ripper and run it along the edge. Oh, that's not working here. There we go. If you can get the fabric off the piping, it's a little bit easier to cut away the fabric without the piping there. It's safer too, because you can get really close to the fabric, to the main cushion. Okay, so the piping has been removed. The next thing to do is, see how these corners are kind of sagging and they've kind of lost their shape? Got to stuff those corners with some extra batting here so that they have their shape back, which will make it easier and look better once I'm gluing the corner. See how this comes around nice and sharp and this isn't? Okay, so don't even have to take the cushion out. Just stuff that in both sides and the top. Put as much as you need to get a nice sharp corner on both sides of the cushion. So then flip it and do the back side or the front side, whatever this is. Everything has to be nice and tight because the glue, you got one shot at this. Okay. Then zip it back up. And I'm going to vacuum this. Okay. Ready to glue the fringe on. Start at the zipper side because you want to be able to have your ends, you know, start and end obviously on the zipper side. And here's our glue. This takes a little bit of patience because you can only do a little bit at a time. And I'm putting the glue on the trim, not on the cushion. Little bit at the just a little, go little pieces. You really have to take your time because you want this to stick and not fall off. If it falls off, the glue is going to get on the fabric and, you know, you have a mess. So this is basically what has to be done. And I have to warn you, it takes a lot of glue. But this dries pretty fast. And once it's dry, it's not going anywhere. This is great. Whoever thought this invention up is just brilliant because it's the best fabric glue I have ever worked with. Okay, so I've started gluing, and you have to apply the glue to the flanged flat side of the trim, not the cushion. You want to apply it to the trim. And just hold it in place until it starts to take hold, you know, to dry. It dries very quickly. Corners are really tricky. And that's why it helps if they're stuffed tight, which is what we just did. And once it dries, you know, like I go back and if there's like a little pocket, I'll stick a little bit of glue in there just to make sure that there aren't any gaps. You don't want to see a gap. This particular job takes a lot of patience because you can't rush it. And a lot of glue. small distances, you know, like a little bit at a time. So I have control over the fringe, and it doesn't decide to, you know, attach itself in the wrong position. You get one shot at this, because once the glue is on the fabric, you can't get rid of that. Okay, so I'm coming around to the finish line here, and I'm just going to cut just a little more than I think I need, you know, just always trim that. And here is the last bit to be glued to this side. Still have the other side to do. I gotta put a nice amount on too, because this fabric is called mohair, and it's rather thick. So there's a thick pile, so the moisture from the glue seeps in, and we want enough of it to grab onto the trim. So I'm going to trim this again. And put some more glue in here, and voila. So all of this is just drying. It takes about, I don't know, 10 minutes, but I like to leave it for a few hours before any real testing, you know, anybody sits on this. Okay, so next is the other side of this one. I always like to wipe it off with a lint roller, just in case there's anything that shouldn't be there. Little threads, nice and clean. Okay, so here we go with this one. By the way, this fabric tack, I buy it from my upholsterer. But they also sell it at Walmart, good old Walmart, and it's actually less expensive at Walmart, believe it or not. Here are the finished cushions that have had their ripped piping replaced with this nice pink fringe. And it was glued on. And that's how it's done. Just want you to see a close-up of the finish cushions and how much better they look.